I knew that Celine really wanted a love song, and that the main takeaway had to be that this was a love song, that this was a love story. And the references that she gave me were John Prine's In Spite of Ourselves and Natasha Bedingfield's Unwritten. It was basically like, we wanted to do something that was really uplifting and romantic and had this like sweeping thing. And then I watched the movie and thought it would be great to write a song that kind of has some turn of phrase like the In Spite of Ourselves. Yeah, I don't know, like inside jokes.
Yeah, they're very playful. That song's like a playful lyrically.
Yeah.
So I think in addition to like lovey-dovey stuff, we wanted it to feel fun to listen to. All the markings of a rom-com are there, but it's kind of a thinker too. The characters have more depth than you might expect from a romantic comedy. And it stuck with me in a weird way, like a couple days after watching it. I just kept going back to it.
Our generation is at a real, we really want our great rom-com. They're my comfort films. They're what I reach for on the plane. And it was really great to see a film that feels very clever and timely and kind of filled that void.
One of the real hooks of the song is the slide guitar riff. That's sort of the first melodic thing that you hear in the song. That did start as just a vocal riff. Michelle was like singing. And then we had Peter just play that same riff on the slide guitar. So that's actually the vocal and the guitar combined. It gives great space. And it's one of those instantly recognizable things.
I think I came up with some of the harmonies, but my favorite harmony is, of course, the one that Craig came up with, which is my baby, my baby. Wait, what is it?
My baby.
My baby, which is something I would never. Do you want to talk about the technical?
Yeah, it's
like
sort of
what
like,
is happening there?
if you think of like a choir separated into 4 voices, I think we only got to 3 different parts on this one, but like it's usually the altos or the tenors that have like lines that on their own don't make a lot of musical sense. But when they're in the harmony context, it gives all the character to the harmonies. So I think we did background vocals. I think it's mostly 2 or even 1. So it's just the lead line and then a lower harmony. And then when we got towards the end of this bridge section, we added the 3rd here.
It sounds like a barber shop.
Yeah, and the way you slide to the last chord, like all 3 voices slide to the resting note, it's really nice.
It helps that I'm married to our guitar player, and sometimes before I'm about to give up on something, and he chimes in and is like, that part is great.
I think he also like suggested that sort of like Stonesy guitar hook in the bridge.
The delay thing was his idea.
That riff. That little like, let's spend the night together kind of Stonesy riff.
I often start with the lyric that starts the song. You know what they say a lot in timeless love songs? They say, my baby. And so I wanted a song that was like very to the point, which is just my baby, you don't have nothing. And I started getting like a little clever with it and finding these sorts of turns of phrase like, you know, sweet, sweet nothing's just nothing after all, and all of these romantic things that you share with someone that offer no financial benefit. Then put in like some real Michelleisms like corporate callings are for the basics.
Like using the words corporate and basics in the song is like sort of similar to the film in that it is like this timeless sweeping love theme, but it's very contemporary at the same time.
I didn't think about writing it from a particular perspective of any of the characters, but of a woman in love with someone who doesn't have any money. As someone who's only loved people that have no money, I could really relate to that theme, especially that scene where John is in his apartment and he can't get the medicine cabinet to close and his roommate has like made a mess or like borrowed something of his. I was probably just thinking of when I met my husband in my early 20s and the kind of life that we were living in the warehouse that you guys both lived in. and what it felt like to just have no prospects but just love someone. I feel like this really wide, verbed out tambourine, percussive element, like this could be the core of any Motown song.
Like this would be the sound if you were in City Hall, like big open space with reverb and stuff. You were standing there shaking a tambourine. It would probably sound something like this. I think the pulse that we ended up with, like, there's a nice rails for the train of the song to run on.
This to me feels like so cinematic, but you had this idea to like have this crescendoing just string pull. To lead us into the song. We've worked together for a really long time. The two of us made Soft Sounds from Another Planet together and Jubilee, and have played in this band together for almost 10 years.
Yeah, coming up on 10.
So I just knew like I wanted this kind of feel and sent him, I think just the acoustic guitar track, and you made a really cool loop with the tambourine and...
Actually, when I came to your apartment, I think is really when it all came together.
Oh yeah, this came together really quickly.
The time span from like finished demo to finished song was like 24 hours maybe.
But sometimes that's just what like a song wants. There are some like questionable chimes that no one will probably hear.
They're very quiet in the mix. They were the last thing we recorded, I think, too.
And our engineer was like not into it and trying to hide it, and we were like, no, we like it. Bring it back. They're really, really quiet. Just kind of like a background texture.
Just a little magical, high frequency stuff.
And it happens again over here. This is one of the things that I think only we will ever hear. But... Someone's at the door.
It's a lot of like really high frequency information, so a lot of times you feel it rather than hear it outright. Wichita Lineman by Glenn Campbell is one of my favorites. Similar to this tune in the sense that it has a sort of classic, timeless sound to it. I can't remember the name of the lyricist. Glenn Campbell didn't write this song, but there's just some beautiful lines in it. The chorus has, I need you more than want you, but I want you for all time. And it's just like doubling down on how much he's in love with his partner.
I like Billy Joel's She's a Woman. Yeah. And probably Beach Boys' God Only Knows.
You can't not mention that.
You can't not mention that. It's maybe the best, I think for a lot of people, the best love song of all time.
Objectively the best love song of all time. Actually, one of my favorite parts about working in the studio with you is like just listing references and listening to songs that maybe we haven't ever heard or haven't heard in a long time. And like once we started getting the sounds together was the Glad and Sorry by The Faces. And it's just a sweet, simple song with similar instrumentation to what we ended up using, and just the tone of it, just like another simple expression that like carries a lot of emotion.
This bridge part like does feel like a Barbra Streisand moment for me. And it's funny because, you know, the record that we just made is a little purposefully difficult, I think, and there aren't a lot of repeating sections or big choruses, and so after focusing on making a record like that, it was really fun to go, I want it to be like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, and I want the bridge to be like the hugest part of the song. So it was fun finding ways to make each of those sections exciting in their own, but also follow this very timeless classic format. It does exactly what a bridge should do too, which is just kind of like sweep you up into the star road of the song.
Yeah. We Mario Karting this?
When I think of a great love song, I think of a Motown hit, and what makes like a simple sentiment like God Only Knows What I'd Be Without You, or I Can't Help Falling in Love with You, or like these like really broad sentiments that feel so universal and still so moving,
It's a tricky thing to do sometimes to find a phrase or something that might seem almost mundane in its cliches of love and whatnot, but to take that and turn it into something, imbue it with more power because of the music that's with it. I can't help falling in love with you. It's a sweet thing to say, but when you put it in its setting musically, it like has a huge impact that it might not have otherwise.